The next lesson is changing fractions to decimals. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to be showing fractions as decimals. So this means that we're going to be doing some division. We're going to be dividing. So I have my calculator right here out so we can see these answers together. So when we're dealing with division, I don't know if you've ever messed around with your calculator and divided, but sometimes you see some crazy answers show up. We're going to talk about those answers. We're actually going to give vocabulary words that go with those kinds of answers. So you're going to hear me say things like the word terminating decimals. You're going to hear me say things like non-terminating decimals. You're going to hear me say non-repeating decimals, and you're going to hear me say repeating decimals. And when they come up and we see them, I'll actually describe them to you. So that way you'll actually see it and know that there is a vocabulary word associated with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. Okay, what we're going to do first is look at these things. Now, again, remember division on the GED test is going to be using this symbol here. A lot of people want to call it the fraction bar. I try not to say that. I try to call it, make sure they just call it a division bar. If they're going to say anything, call it division. I'm sorry, I-S-I-O-N. Sorry about that spelling. So we're going to say that this is 4 divided by 5. Now, sometimes students also have they're like, well, what number do I put in first, Darren, in the calculator? Let me rewrite this so that you see it as this. So if you were looking at this old school style, the 4 would be underneath the division symbol and the 5 would be outside the division symbol if we were looking at this old school style. If we're using maybe another symbol that you're familiar with, it would be this symbol or this symbol. That's what's actually happening or being said using this math problem. Okay, so again, when we go to the calculator, I'm not going to be setting this up as a fraction. Okay, want to make sure that you understand that. I'm going to be using the division symbol to divide these things with the calculator. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, so this is 4 divided by 5, and I want to go ahead and enter that into the calculator. So I come over here and I go 4, and I hit the division symbol, right? Divided by, we talked about that just a second ago, and I put a 5 here. So 4 divided by 5, let's go ahead and see what this answer looks like. 0.8. Okay, so I want to describe this to you because sometimes students have some questions about this. Let's say the first question. The first question students will have is 0.8 or 0.8. Students will ask me all the time, Darren, which one is correct? Do I use 0.8 or do I show 0.8? Now, it's totally up to you. Then they'll ask me the second question. Well, what's going to be on the test? And I'll tell them, look, I'm not really sure. So, you know, knowing that 0.8 and zero point 0.8 are the same, you can use either. In class, I usually show 0.8 because it's just one less thing that I have to do or one less distraction on the board. So it's up to you, okay, how you decide to show that. Okay, all right, let's go back to our answer now. 0.8. I'm going to give this a vocabulary word. I'm going to call this terminating decimal. Now, think about the word terminate. Do you know what that means? If I said to terminate something, most people would say, well, it means to end. I'd say, yeah, exactly. So terminating means end. So when you see a terminating decimal, it means that it ends. 0.8. There is nothing after that. It doesn't go on forever. The answer just ends. 0.8, nothing more. This is called a terminating decimal. And we like terminating decimals because they're really easy to see. They're very clear. I can tell you, oh, the answer is 0.8. The answer is 0.125. It's very simple. Now, let's look at the next one. This one is going to be quite different. And hopefully you can see the difference now between answers when we divide. Okay, the next one is 1 divided by 3. I'm going to go ahead and go to my calculator and put that in. 1 divided by 3. Okay, this answer is quite different. Some students will say, so Darren, I see 333333333. So is that the answer, Varen? The answer is 0.3 and then have 8 threes? And I'd say, no, 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 no. The only reason you're seeing this many threes is because the calculator can't show you all the threes. Actually, this 3 goes on forever. It doesn't stop. It's if the calculator could show you all of the threes, it would go on forever. It would be never ending. So even though I'm looking at this last 3 on the calculator, that's as much as my display can show. These threes continue on forever and forever and forever. So when we look at this, you can tell that this answer here is quite different from what we saw on the previous 1.8. This is called non-terminating. Non is a prefix and it means not. So this is not ending. And that is correct. This decimal goes on forever. This is called a non-terminating decimal. It goes on forever. So the thing about this, and the reason we have to go through this vocabulary is because on the GED math test, you're not going to see the answer 0.33333333333. It's not going to show up like that. They do not display these kinds of answers. What happens is we use symbols to show repeating. So this is called a non-terminating repeating decimal. Repeating meaning it's the same number or number pattern over and over and over again. So again, non-terminating repeating decimal. Now, when we see non-terminating repeating decimals, we're not going to show the answer as 0.333. We're not going to see that on our choice selections like A, B, C, or D. What they're going to do is they're going to show it another way. Now, let me show you the most common way that we show it in class. In class, we normally will show it as, we'll show the decimal and we'll show the first digit that repeats. And the digits that repeat is the number 3. So I show only 1 3 because I would say this answer is 0.3 repeating. And I use this little symbol above my 3. This is called a repeating symbol. I put it above my 3. Now, if someone asked me, well, Varen, so what's the answer? I'd say it's 0.3 repeating. It is not 0.33 repeating or repeating. Doing that is incorrect. You only put it above the digit that repeats, and the digit that repeats is only a single 3. So I would say it's 0.3 that goes on forever. So this is the most common way to show a repeater is to put the little symbol like that above the 3. Now, on the GED test, they are not going to use this symbol. You have to kind of get familiar with another way of seeing a repeater on the GED math test. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. So again, they are not going to use this. They're going to do it a different way, and I'm about to show you that. What they're going to do again is show you the decimal and the 3. That's the same, right? Though they're not going to put the little line above it to show it that it repeats. What they end up doing is they take the fraction or the division math problem, right? 1 divided by 3, and they're going to stick it behind the answer 0.3. I know this might look real weird to you, and it's very weird for a lot of adults coming into math again and trying to learn this. I had to learn it too. So again, 0.3, and then they put the division math problem 1 divided by 3 behind it. So this symboling or showing this behind the 0.3, that is showing that it repeats. Now that's new for quite a few people. Let's go ahead and do another one and you'll see example for me. What I want to do is I want to do this one right here, which is 2 divided by 3. Let's go ahead and stick this in the calculator. Now you're going to get a similar answer to what we just got, like 0.33333. You're going to see something very similar. Let's go ahead and put it in here. 2 divided by 3. Now putting 2 divided by 3, let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay. So students will see this answer again and they'll say, Varen, so is the answer 0.666666667? And I'd say no. The answer is zero point 0.6 repeating forever, but they'll say, well, wait a minute, I see that 7 back there. And I'd say, okay, what's happening is this is your calculator now. Your calculator's making a decision. Your calculator's doing something. What your calculator's doing is rounding the last 6 up to the number 7, because what it's telling me is this is the end of my display space. I can't show you any more 6s. They just rounded the last digit up. It is not the last digit. It's the last digit on the display, but it's not the last 6. These 6s, again, like the 3s, go on forever. So if you asked me, hey, Varen, what is 2 divided by 3? I'm going to tell you it's a non-terminating decimal, 0.6666666. That's a repeater that goes on forever. But again, that is true. That is what it is, but we're not going to see this on the test. We're not going to see 0.6666666. They are going to show it differently. And how are they going to show that? They're going to show it as the repeating symbol and using this one that I just gave an example for. So based on what we just saw over here, what do you think they would show for 2 divided by 3, getting this? Go ahead and pause. Okay. Did you write down what you thought they would get? So remember, my answer is 0.66666, but I need to modify that because that is not the way they're going to show a non-terminating repeating decimal. They're going to use a symbol or they're going to do something. They're going to actually, remember, stick that fraction behind the first repeating symbol or repeating digit. So here we go. 0.6, right? 0.6, because it's a 6 that repeats, right? Now they're going to take the fraction or the division problem, 2 divided by 3, and they're going to put it right behind that first 6. 0.6. And then by having the fraction behind like that, that indicates repeat. Let's try it again. 1 divided by 9. Go ahead and put 1 divided by 9 into the calculator. You're going to again see a repeating decimal. You're going to see a non-terminating repeated decimal. I want you to go ahead and change that. Show it on your paper the way the GED test is going to show this non-repeating terminating decimal. I'm sorry, non-terminating repeating decimal. Go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Here we go. 1 divided by 9. Again, my answer is 0.1111111. So again, it's 0.1 that repeats. Okay, so what do I do on my paper? Or how are they going to show it as on the test as A, B, C, or D? What they're going to do is they're going to show me the decimal 0.1, and then they're going to take this fraction, 1 divided by 9, and they're going to stick it behind the 0.1. So 0.1 and 1/9. I know it looks really weird, but this is the way the GED test shows repeaters. And it's the only time they'll do it is when the answer repeats. They don't do it any other time. So for instance, if you go back up to this first math problem, 4 divided by 5. So you wouldn't say the answer is 0.8 and 4/5. That is not correct because you only use that symboling or put that fraction behind there is when it repeats. And if it doesn't repeat, then you do not do it. Okay, let's go ahead and show another type of math answer that you will get. And that answer is called a non-terminating, non-repeating. So let's go ahead and try that one. And we're going to try that with 6 divided by 7. So if I put this in the calculator, you're going to see the final example. So this is the final type of division answer that you may get. Look at our answer. 6 divided by 7 gives us the answer 0.857142857. Now, this answer Again, like the previous math problems that we were just doing, does not end. Some students will say again, so does it end after the last 7? And I'd say, no, it doesn't. It doesn't end. What's actually happening is this is, again, this is just as much as my display can show me. Some calculators, if you have online, can actually show you many, many, many more digits. And you get free to look at that, except it's not going to make a hill of beans difference for you. You're still dealing with something that's non-terminating, and this one's also non-repeating. So because this one does not have a repeater, you do not put the 6 divided by 7 behind it. You don't do that. What's going to happen with these kind is you're going to have to round these answers. I have another video in the next series that shows how to round decimals, and that's what you're going to do with non-terminating, non-repeating, non-repeating decimals. So go ahead and find that video, and then I'll show you how to round decimals, and you'll get to practice. Good luck with these.